hit the wrong button. I think, and it caused problems, and that's why we're a few minutes late. One button, one push of the mistake, and I ended up having to spend time eating Henry's Puffy Tacos. Right there, Henry's Puffy Tacos, in an effort to allow Salo and Charlie to fix the grievous error I made when apparently I don't know, I did something to the technology. Is what it is. But look, at the end of the day, we're going to move the podcast to 6:30 anyways. 6:15 was like an odd time. Salo and I were talking to each other like, 6:15 doesn't make a lot of sense. Right, Salo? Right there. It's a weird time. So we're shifting it to 6:30, and even though today we're a little late, it's because I made an error, and I apologize. And then I sat down and started eating Henry's Puffy Tacos. Totally a keto dinner. I'm 100% positive Henry's Puffy Tacos is a keto mecca of great food. I'm actually not telling the truth about that. It's just great food at Henry's.
Fake news.
Yeah, it's fake news. It's not keto. And then, I walked in, and we took an extra 10 minutes. So I apologize we're late. We do have Tony Gonzales here. We're gonna catch up real soon here, and then we're gonna get into what hopefully would be a great hour of just talking, figuring out where we were, how things have been going for you, what's up with Salo, what's going on with Charlie. Gianna's here tonight as well. Woo! We've got people in the room, and we're all hopped up on Henry's and diet sodas. So it's going to be an interesting night. But up front, we always do a few things that are pretty basic on a broadcast. We ask you to like it, share it, tag it, push it out. Make sure we get the information out, because it's not just who watches it live while it's going. It gets shared and viewed thousands of times by our friends and family and stuff like that. So it helps to get the message out about what in the world's going on in Bexar County, in the city of San Antonio, in Congressional District 23 with Tony now. Going into the November elections, we're having a transformational year in politics and our governance as a community, city, and state, as well as obviously a nation. So get informed, stay informed, and make things happen. One of the other things we want to start doing, I learned a valuable lesson during the campaign, and Tony actually reminded me about it when we were talking today about him coming on the show. One of the things we always need to remember, that now more than ever, you have to defend what you believe as a voter, as a citizen, as a member of as a citizen of San Antonio, your own little neighborhood, your own little world. But more importantly now, I believe, just besides politics and governance, it has never been more important in our time to defend your faith.
That's right.
Right? Your faith. And Tony mentioned that to me too. He said, hey man, I want to talk a little bit about faith and family as well tonight. So we're going to start off with that. But Tony brought that up. So from here on out, I'm going to ask Salo or myself or somebody before we start the show to pray for the city and to pray for our families and on both sides of the political aisle, and just in general for who we are as a community, whatever you believe. And even if you're not a person of faith and it's not your thing, that's okay too. Even a moment of silence to think about the best wishes for San Antonio, the best for our community. We can sit here and argue over face masks and all this other stuff, but at the end of the day, I think a little prayer up front to set us straight before we begin the show is the best way to go from here on out. So from here on out, I'm going to do all I can to be a little bit better every day as doing the podcast and other things, but just as important is to be a better person of faith, an example of what it means, and we're going to do that right now. So Sal, get over here, man.
Time to shine.
All right, give us a prayer for the city, its leaders, and our families.
Yeah, let's pray. God, we thank you for who you are, and then we thank you for who we are when we get closer to you. So God, help us. I know that you're the one that establishes kingdoms, and you put kings in place, God. Help us understand that. Help us pray for our leaders, Republican and Democrat, God. Guide our city. Give us the wisdom. God, help us understand that it's not in our strength or our wisdom. Sometimes we feel it is. Forgive us for that, but I'm asking you to give Greg wisdom and Tony and all our leaders and our city, God. We want to, more than raise the volume of a particular group, we want to raise your voice, your name above all names. And we need your guidance and we need your help. Bless this program. Bless my friends. Bless the city. Bless our nation. Bless our leaders. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen. Now that is a way to start a podcast.
There we go.
It's a way to lead the discussion and make sure we know what in the world we're doing. But look, faith, if you get, oh man, Brockhouse, what are you doing, man? This faith stuff, you're out. All I tell you about this is when you dig into some of the Bible stuff and wherever you fall on it, I, over the last year, have kind of tried to reclaim some of that after a tough year politically for me and my family and trying to rebuild things. It comes in this point where you sit there and you go back to the basics of biblical teachings. And some of those basics are that the three greatest things, Salo, in the world, faith, hope, and love, right? And the greatest of these, Salo, is love. So it's not, the greatest wasn't clearly identified as faith, and it wasn't identified as hope. It was identified as amor, love. So for us to try to remember that, you don't have to like your opponents, the people on the other side of the aisles. You don't have to care. You can think they're absolutely crazy, but at the end of the day, let's try to have a fruitful dialogue and discussion and go from there. And if we can figure that out, great. But at least you start with faith and discernment so that we pray for people to make the right decisions. Whether or not they do, it's on them. But we can always be ready to go with it. So that's how we're going to start it from here on out. Thank you, Salo.
Beautiful.
Salo does some good prayers.
Yeah, he does.
I don't know.
It's like he's done it once or twice.
Yeah. My praying's a little bit more like, oh my dear Lord, dear Lord, dear Lord. Like I'm a little bit, my prayer's more talking. Yours is just really, really good, Salo.
It's more like I'm falling and I can't get up.
Yeah, Salo. Yeah, Salo's a good prayer. I like it. So, hey, we do want to thank our sponsors up front. So we'll go through these pretty quick right now so we can get into it with Tony here because we got a lot of catching up to do. We want to thank Align Mortgage of Texas. So Chris Cano. And Chris Cano has to meet Tony Gonzales. Tony Gonzales is retired Master Chief.
That's it, yeah.
United States Navy. Was you a cryptology?
Cryptology.
Cryptology. Chris Cano, the owner of Align Mortgage, along with Tony Diaz and Cody Carrasquillo, are building this company, the #1 VA lender in the state of Texas, soon to be the nation. We absolutely love Chris because he gives us the facility, the opportunity to put this podcast on in an environment where he invites all sides and differences, and we've had all sides and differences on the podcast before, but he allows that in his space. We appreciate you, Chris. Chris himself used to drown. He's a submarine guy out of Pearl himself in the United States Navy, so we're thankful for him. It's a company built by veterans, right? Owned by veterans and ran by veterans. We got veterans all over the building. The whole goal at Align Mortgage is to support the veteran mission of owning a piece of this country, right? The piece of land at home, owning a home in the land you defend. I mean, that's the most important mission statement here at Align Mortgage. And we honor that. We honor you, Chris Cano. We thank you. Even though I'm Air Force, this guy's Navy too, right? So I'm thinking I'm outnumbered here in the building.
He's good.
We thank you, Chris. We appreciate you, brother. And thank you for what you do, being honest and a good man and a man of faith, building this business and letting us be here. Thank you. Then we go to Louis Garcia and AAA Garcia Bail Bonds. We love Louis, man. We absolutely love this guy. His bail bonds business here in San Antonio, 3 locations, just opened up a brand new one downtown. But the man kills it because he runs his business as a family-oriented environment, and he takes care of people. So if you get yourself sideways with the law and you need an opportunity to get out, you're not, you're down there and you need a phone call to make, call Louis, AAA Garcia Bail Bonds. Give him a shout. He'll take care of you. Plus, we thank our 2 realtor partners that always help us out, Chris Marty at Rebate House and Brian Pena. So Chris Marty at Rebate House is rebatehouse.com. Take a look at him, and you should shop, man. You should be looking at your realtors, making sure you find out who you're working with and what's the best value for you. Chris Marty at Rebate House always jumps in and does phenomenal business here at Aligned and across the city. And then there's Brian Pena at the Toronto Realty Group, Remax. Look at that handsome devil right there. He's got a first responders buying program that's absolutely fantastic. So 5% down, 0 closing costs, and credit scores are an interesting world to be digging in because people's credit scores don't define them, but you have an opportunity to buy a home. Give Brian Pena a call, man. See what he can do for you. So thank you to the sponsor. Oh, Tyler Hall and Speedy Salt. I love you, Tyler. That's all I have to say. If you need salt, don't go to Home Depot to pick it up, man. He'll deliver it for you right to your doorstep because he's just a good dude. And we love him here because he helps out on the show, right, Salo?
Yep, a lot.
We appreciate him. And, of course, we thank Salo Rodriguez.
Yeah.
Charlie, how do you pronounce the last name, bro? Castanero. Well, I didn't do my D right, but that's okay. That's okay. Castanado from South. No, I never roll my D. All right. And Charlie works the tech and helps us out and puts the show on. The 2 of them are phenomenal. We're thankful for your time and energy because you are working to build San Antonio and messaging, and you're helping us get out there the change that needs to happen. So thank you. All right, that's where we're at. So what we'll do is we'll save that video for a random moment in the middle of the show when we're getting a little too serious. We'll save that video.
I'm excited.
We'll have some fun. We're gonna do some memes later too because we gotta have some fun.
Yeah.
So we're gonna do some not so difficult memes, maybe not so challenging memes, and then we'll wrap up at the end with some thoughts on where the city's going and what's happening next. Tony Gonzales, man, oh man. So set the stage. Tony Gonzales came on a show. What was it? Last year now?
Yeah, last year.
Last year when he was a sapling, a young candidate.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. Before the start of what honestly is a brutal campaign. It was in the original primary. You were in a brawling campaign. Like it was a tough run. So it's been several months since you've been here. Welcome. Congratulations right off the bat.
Yeah.
talk to us. Well, actually, first, before we do anything, is there a picture of his baby?
There we go.
Should be on there. Tony baby.
Oh, you got it?
Now we're talking.
Can you put that picture of that baby up? Not only did this guy win a primary by 7 votes on election night, but he turned around and...
Oh, you're kidding me.
The pictures are gone. There it is. Woo, look at that baby.
Look at that.
So
Isabella.
Well, I don't know why we went straight to the COVID. What is? Oh man, we're getting heavy into the COVID.
There we go. There she's back.
Nobody wants to see COVID right now. We want to see that baby.
She's back.
So. La fregada. So, Tony had a baby, Isabella.
Yeah.
How in the world is your family growing? What you doing? Talk to us about your family real quick and remind everybody who you are and the baby and everything.
Absolutely. So first off, I reached out to Greg and I was like, look, I want to talk about faith and family because that is everything to me. We just had, my wife Angel and I, we just had our 6th child, right? So baby Isabella is our 6th child.
Awesome.
Now my oldest is 19. And she's a girl. My oldest is a girl. And I have 4 boys. And now my youngest is a girl. And I'll tell you, it's night and day different. I was 19 when I had Christina. Now I'm older. It's much different. I mean, Isabella.
Older.
Isabella is just.
Look at that.
I just want to give her my credit card and just be like,
hey, man.
Go get yourself something nice.
Did you not learn anything from the first one? You got a credit card?
Yeah, she's awesome. And the family's doing great.
Yeah, but during the campaign, man, to have.
Yeah.
So the wife, how did she was campaigning, dude.
Yeah.
Look,
the thing is, you cannot do this alone. You have to have your family behind you. I couldn't even imagine, as tough as 23 is, to get beat up all day and then come home and get beat up some more. That could never work. So you have to have your family behind you. And I've been very thankful, not only my wife, but my mother. My mother lives with us. Mm-hmm. She helps raise our children.
You're gonna need that, boy.
Absolutely.
Well, I'm telling you, man. Yeah. When you're the congressman for Congressional District 23, you're gonna be gone a lot, and that family of yours is gonna keep growing.
Yeah.
While you're in Washington D.C., look at that pretty baby Isabella,
She's
beautiful
great.
angel.
She's great.
Mrs. Cano, Mama Rosie there with the wow as well. Maverick County's all in for Tony Gonzales. We have exciting curbside events placed up, TG out. Obviously, people loving the picture of your baby and the outfit as well, man. Little Republican. Little Republican. All right, brother. So. Election night. We're going to go straight to it. I do want to talk about how yesterday you spent time on Air Force One with President Trump.
Sure.
And we're going to get to that in a second.
Yeah.
But talk to us about election night. So the numbers come in, they're rolling in. Because people don't know that at the end of that evening, you were up by...
7 votes. Isn't that amazing?
Out of how many?
Out of almost 25,000.
25,000 votes in the Republican primary for Congressional District 23. You closed the night out at
7 votes.
7 votes.
What's absolutely been amazing on this whole journey is it humbles you. I mean, there is something, it is difficult to run for public office. I don't care what party, I don't care what public office you run. It's tough. It's tough as nails. Nothing is guaranteed. And on election night, you're as naked as can be. Like, you have no idea how things are going to kind of turn out. All you can do is just work hard, give it your all, believe, just almost blindly, have your faith and really let God take the wheel. And to win by 7 votes, it's divine. That is seriously divine. And it echoes every vote matters. And Texas 23 is as tough a race as it gets, not only in the primary, but in November as well. So we're very excited, very humbled, and proud to be the Republican nominee.
And so the votes are canvassed, and you ended up at the end of the canvass being up by 40.
Yeah, we crushed it, 46.
You increased your victory 7-fold. Exactly. You hit from 7 to 46. Hey, man, dude, a win's a win. A W's a W. Yeah. Mike Villarreal, I think it was, here in San Antonio several years ago when he was running, won by a vote. Yeah. I mean, a vote.
Yes.
So thank God his wife went to go vote, right? Yes. Or thank God his mom or some family member went and actually pulled the trigger that day, because it could have been the other direction. So tough night. You come in, you're watching the returns. I've been there when you're sitting waiting for the returns. My wife will vouch for this, as I'm sure your wife was just probably beside herself all night long. It's the most helpless feeling, because at 6:55, it's over, and you're waiting for these results to miraculously appear from Bexar County Elections Office, And it's the most helpless feeling in the history of the entire campaign. It just in politics period, the worst time to wait is right before the vote comes out.
It's also exciting though.
I don't know about exciting. I was so pissed.
Just exciting. You're like, oh my God, all this stuff is happening. And what it reminds you of democracy. It reminds you of, if you want to have a voice at the table, go out and vote, right? Vote for the candidate of your choice, get involved. And it's just exciting. We had an army, we still have an army of young people. I mean, there's nothing like it. To see all these young people get involved. And in many cases, I'm the first campaign that they've ever been involved. There's a lot of pressure. You know, you got to be able to go, hey, how do we bring these people back? Get them involved in the process. And it's just exciting.
What do you think? And some people asked some questions they wanted me to make sure I asked you, and we want to put them out there for people who are going to be watching In and Out tonight.
Yeah, of course.
And then who watch the podcast afterwards. So Raul Reyes was a bruising campaign, man.
Oh yeah.
Y'all, the two of you. I mean, Nuremberg and myself really went in a very difficult campaign. Yours rivaled that. I think it was very challenging. And at times personal from both sides, but that's how political campaigns are when you're in a hard-fought race and it's down to the line. You know, some people will do anything to win. And I saw that in a lot of instances from the other side. One of the biggest questions I want to ask you is, how do you reach out and try to get these Reyes supporters into the camp to understand that it's a unified team going into November? What do you think?
First off, you can't take anything personal. I mean, you have to have the thickest of skin. You know, you have to be firm in your convictions and your values and be willing to go out there and battle for it. And I kind of knew that going in, but I didn't really expect that from the Republican primary, because honestly, we have so much in common. You talk about faith, you talk about family, you talk about country. All those things is basically the platform of all Republicans. But the thing is, you have to be able to bring people together. You have to be able to unite the party. And Texas 23 is as tough as it gets. It's a razor thin margin. So we, as Republicans, this is what we're up against. We're up against a socialist Democrat that wants to defund the police. I mean, that should scare the hell out of all of us. We're up against a socialist Democrat that wants single-payer insurance, that wants to shove it down our throats. That should scare us all. We're up against a social Democrat that wants to have a socialist agenda, the transgender agenda. There's so much going on in the world, right? You talk about veterans. You talk about taking care of veterans. You talk about getting people back to work safely. There's so much that we have to work on, and you've got this other side that is just really dug in. I say all that to go, we have to unite. And it's not just about the party. It's about anybody that believes in family and the family unit, anybody that believes in God and faith having a role not only in their lives, but in the community, and anybody that believes in free enterprise. Part of my story is at 2 months old, my father abandoned us. So I was raised without a father. That's one. At 6 years old, my mother remarried, and she was in an abusive relationship. Well, guess what? I spent weeks on end at the battered women's shelter, right? At 7 years old, I go to live with my grandparents, and they basically raised me, right? I lived in Camp Wood from 3rd to 7th grade, and then we moved to Devine. I get a little older. I'm missing my brothers. I have 2 younger brothers, and I go back to live with my mother at 15. Well, guess what? Nothing had changed. So still in that abusive relationship. So I've lived on my own since I was 15 years old. I'm working 3 jobs, a glass factory, a meat plant, just really crappy, really tough jobs. And I'm working my way to get through high school. I'm a half credit away from graduating, and my grandfather passes away. Basically my father. Taught me how to shave, taught me how to drive, taught me how to chase women, right? And he passes away. I'm devastated. Yeah. So what do? I join the Navy.
Our grandfathers said that. I mean, grandfathers can teach you so much. Yeah,
that's right.
I mean, you talk about that, even down to shaving. It's just that must have been, I would imagine at that moment.
I was crushed.
This is another challenge. a massive challenge on top of what sounds like to be a lifetime of already tough challenges, right?
I see it. Look,
at the toughest time. You're about to
I mean,
graduate.
you're at the weakest point. I say all that. God pulls me out of that spiral, sets me on my journey. I end up getting my high school diploma in the Navy. Now I'm finishing up my PhD. I have 6 children. I say that story to tell you the most important job I will ever have is being a father. Is that first and foremost. The other thing, I tell you that story, that's the Texas 23 story.
Yeah, it is. No joke.
Right?
100%.
That is the American dream. Regardless of what hand you are dealt, regardless of where you started in life, you can fit. I'm running for Congress. I'm one step away from being a congressman. That's what I believe we need to talk about. Now, we can dig in on politics and policy all day long.
Well, I think
but it's about character.
And I think people, and this is something I wanted to make sure we talked about this a little bit before we got into it tonight. People need to understand. Republicans, they there's a reason why Republicans don't win in Bexar County, and there's a lot that goes into it. Number one, the Democrats do obviously outnumber Republicans. There's a lot of independents and swing voters in Bexar County, which is a good chunk of Texas 23. So Bexar County came out huge for you in the win. But this I got to say to Republicans, and I noticed it in some of the comments about you, right? And there's this talk about just because you're a Reyes voter, right, and how tough that campaign became. You cannot, therefore, just because your candidate didn't win in a primary, then turn around and say, well, I'm not voting for anybody, right? Like, well, screw that. I'm going to stay home now. I'm not going to vote for that guy because he won, and I'm going to stay out. Your non-vote, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Apathy elects people. This is something I want each of you to think about out there. Voter apathy elects candidates just as much as voter action. So voter action being I go out and vote.
That's right.
Well, you think staying home because you don't like Tony Gonzales. He's not Republican enough for you. Whatever your litmus test is for Republicanism or conservatism, by staying home, you are electing the declared Democratic primary nominee.
Yeah. And defunding the police.
And exactly. So people who go out there and say, screw this, Raul didn't win, and there's no way I'm voting for that rhino or whatever word they come up with, right? That they can demean you as not Republican enough. People, you cannot stay home. The president needs your vote, right? Senators need your vote. If you skip over a congressional race and you say, you know what, Gina Ortiz-Jones or any congressional race, no matter which party you are, Republican or Democrat, saying I'm not going to vote because my person didn't win, elects the other person you were doing the best you could to defeat. So how do you get these people to come back to you and recognize it becomes a game of, look, how close are we on these issues and what can we do? I mean, how do you get them back?
I think at the end of the day, it is on me, right? Basically, they did not vote for me. You have to be humble in this process. You got to realize it's not always somebody else's fault, right? And we've already started to work towards that. This morning, and we'll get to it, but this morning, I started the day in West Texas, and it was exciting. We started in Midland, and then we went to Monahans, and then we were out in El Dorado, and then in Sonora, and kind of working our way through. And I'm in front of a lot of people that did not vote for me, right? And I'm basically going, look, I'm here with my hat in hand to go, I need you. This is going to be just as close a race in November. I need you. Fire away. And they're firing away. They're asking questions. And really, it's on me to build those relationships up, to show them that I'm going to represent them, that I'm going to have their back, that I'm going to show up when they need me most. So I look at it as an opportunity. This is an opportunity to get stronger. This was God telling me, whoa, hold on, young man. You're going to get through, but you're going to have to do it my way.
Well, that's a damn good answer. And I'm going to tell you why, because it's reflective of, so people will say, right, when you're an upstart, you're the younger guy, and Colonel Reyes, right, retired Colonel, Air Force Colonel Reyes, he meant well, and I think he got into it for the right reasons, and people don't get chosen. I have to live with not being chosen, right? But I was also chosen at another time.
Sure.
But when you're the upstart and you're coming into it, people look at you sideways, right? Like you got a problem with it, and there's this air about that comes with the young guy that thinks he can win.
Sure.
And I think some of that was attributed to you early on. And as it should be, because you're most everybody else in that race. Was there anybody younger? A couple of people at the beginning younger than you.
Yeah.
But as you came up as the leader of the pack, right? People start to point fingers at those things and they start to tear down on it. But the maturity to say, right, which is what people need to pay attention to in Tony's answer, the maturity to say, hey, look, man, you didn't vote for me. I'm okay with that. I would have preferred to have your vote, but I understand you made a choice. So what do I have to do? Man, that is the answer, Tony. What do I have to do to turn around and earn your vote? Because at the end of the day, you're all Republicans. You're all Republicans. And stop with the Republicans. Stop with the damn litmus test of not being enough Republican to earn your vote. By not voting for the man, you're going to elect the Democrat. So therefore, you're just as much a Democrat then. If you have a problem with Democrats and you don't want to vote for them, not voting for the Republican is you are helping the Democrat. So
on the other end,
it's so frustrating. I don't know, man. And Tony, I mean, Raul came at you tough.
Sure,
he did. So what was their response out in West Texas when you said, how did it go?
It went great. I mean, honestly, from you show up, like I said, with your hat in hand, right? And you go, look, I need to do a better job. I want to be out here more. I want to know the issues that are most important to you. Guess what the response was? You got time? Let me go show you this plant. Let me go show you the school. Let me introduce you to the judge. Do these things. And I go, of course I got time. That's why I showed up. The reason why we showed up late, or we were a little late, is because I got here right on time. So I say all that to go, people want to be represented. They want that. They want you to be involved. You think they want to have a no-action congressman? No, they want to have a good relationship with you, but it's a two-way street. The other thing is we are going to win, and I'm going to be the congressman of District 23. And when I do, I'm going to have to represent everybody, regardless of if you voted, if you didn't vote, if you voted for me. That's not the deal. Just like mayor, just like councilman, you represent everyone.
And Elizabeth Montalvo. We love Elizabeth. She's amazing, but she has a different viewpoint on this one. Not voting for a specific candidate doesn't mean that the person is going to stay home and not vote at all. You are staying home in that race, Elizabeth. So by staying home in it, right, by undervoting and skipping it, that's basically a vote for Gina Ortiz-Jones. If you stay out of it, that's one less vote she has to get to beat Tony. So in point of fact, if you do not, you undervote, you are staying home on the congressional election. So if you are a Republican and you feel like, the guy's just not Republican enough for me, I'm here to tell you then, there is no way on God's green earth that Gina Jones is more Republican than Tony.
That's right.
So I'm not saying elections are tough. They're tough nowadays because sometimes you have to choose, not sometimes, it's become a lot of times, you choose the lesser of two evils. And we see that up and down the ballot in many races. And we've gotten to that way as a country because, man, we're finding fault in everybody. I mean, nobody's allowed to make a mistake in this world anymore without getting vilified, destroyed, or personal. Everything's on the table now. So I think you got to get out, Elizabeth. And if you're in the 23rd, you got to vote it. And if you're a Republican and you have a voting record that is staunchly Republican, to undervote a Republican is giving the vote to the Democrat. Just don't forget that, Elizabeth, and anybody else. One less vote for Tony is one less vote Gina needs to get. That's how it works. So vote for the Republicans, stick together at that point. Who endorsed you? Go down the endorsement list. Now, I want to just give us some names because this is how Republican, what I love too is the people who call you Rhino are not enough Republican. You are endorsed by some of the most Republican people on the planet.
Exactly.
On the planet.
Who's
your number one endorsement?
Well, I mean,
at the top of the top.
I mean,
the elected, number one.
The president.
Tony's endorsed by President Donald J. Trump. Is there any? He's the leader of the party. He leads Republicans. So I'm not saying he's the most and all this other stuff. But you don't get any more Republican cred than the leader of the party endorsing you. Right? I mean, let's be honest here. Who else has jumped out there?
And
Dan Crenshaw?
Dan Crenshaw, Will Hurd.
I mean,
winning Texas 23, you need everybody, regardless of where you fall on the spectrum. And I've always led with my character and who I am as a person, because how you vote, the voting is going to change. The bills that come up are going to change. But the minute you as a person start changing, that's when it's time to go. So, we need everybody. We need everybody, in order to win this seat. And at the end of the day, every vote matters. Like, you have to go out there and you have to work for every vote, and you got to show the differences. Yes, I'm going to be pro-veteran. Yes, I'm going to be pro-business, pro-energy, all these different things. At the end of the day, most people just want to live their lives, right? Dignity of work. They want to work hard. They want to better their families, and they want to come home, and they want to have a better future for themselves. They want to live the American dream, right? They want to own a home. They want to own a vehicle. They want their children to be more successful than they were. It's that simple.
Yeah, 100%. And people ultimately vote what's going on in their neighborhood and in their house, right? Like in their front yard and backyard, that's where people vote. I just want to say one thing to close this topic out, because I want to get to you on Air Force One yesterday with the President of the United States. And whether or not you like the President, he is your President. So, Colonel Reyes, it's important that you talk to your voters, Raul Reyes, and you encourage them to vote for Tony Gonzales. The team player, right? You wanted to lead the Republican Party. If you would have been on the other side and been up by 7 votes or by 46, you would want to earn Tony Gonzales' voters, because without them, you would not win the congressional seat. You wouldn't beat Gina without Tony's votes. Now the role is vice versa, right? So it didn't end up that well for you. Sir, I lost a race. It's okay. You turn around and you say you got to do what's right by the party, sir. Regardless whether or not you like that candidate completely, he is the nominee for the Republican Party in Congressional District 23. It's incumbent on you, sir, and Tony as well, for both of you to find a way to win in November as a Republican. And if it works out great, fine. Tony's going to go on and have a great career. God knows what's going to happen in November. He's a believer. He's got it. But even then, you're showing to the voters of the congressional district that you care more about them than your own individual election, because you care more about the Republican Party. You got to get out and ask your people to vote and support for Tony, because he needs it going in, just like he would have done the same for you to make sure the seat doesn't fall in someone else's hands, specifically the Democrat, who by no means, Colonel Reyes, she is as hardcore Democrat as they come, progressive liberal Democrat. Tony and you are Republicans. Stick to the Republican Party, Raul. Support them, be together, and let the chips fall where they may. And God will give you the chance in the future, Tony. I know that. I lost. Raul, God will give you the path going forward if it's meant to be. And if it's not now, then the question should be when. But join in, Raul. Talk to your voters, and let's work together, right? Let's work together. So
the good thing about that is early on in the race, Raul came out and said, of course I will support the Republican nominee. I think it was on radio and all these forums. So, we expect that to happen, because it's not only about the party, it's about the country. The country is being torn apart.
It's a battle for the social. It's a battle for the soul of the country.
So if you don't,
you're right.
If you don't, it just goes against everything that he ran on. And all of us, at the end of the day, this is a extremely important election, and we, those that believe in America, that's what I see, need to come together and fight for America.
Okay, we made our pitch. Okay, Tony yesterday were you Midland, right?
Yeah.
All right, Tony went to go hang out with the president yesterday. So talk us through your time with the president and the group that visited with him. The president flew into Midland yesterday for a Texas stop. Obviously was greeted by the governor and Senator Cornyn, and was Cornyn? Senator Cruz was there, who's Senator. I love this. Senator Cruz endorsed Raul Reyes. Oh, I got to tell this story real quick. Endorsements, most endorsements are just nice. Some endorsements can make a difference. So Raul Reyes came out and was endorsed by Ted Cruz on like a Monday or whatever day it was. And then it was a pretty big endorsement.
Sure,
people were kind of wow. There was a wow factor to that. Like, hey man, Ted Cruz jumped in this race in the last 2 weeks and is dumping cash in. And then 48 hours later, the president endorsed you. I mean, it's a beautiful comeback. So however y'all orchestrated that, fantastic. But you're up there. You get to meet the president, and Senator Cruz is with you too. And obviously, you said earlier he was very professional and kind and prepared to help you go forward. So how was it, man? And talk to us about Air Force One as much as you can tell us without getting.
It was exciting. It was exciting. It's not every day you get to meet a president, right? And it's not every day you get to meet him in your home state. It was very exciting. The biggest takeaway that I had was in the motorcade. I was part of the motorcade. There was all these wonderful Americans just standing there waving with their children, with the American flag, just excited to see a president, right? And that's the first time I've been involved in that. But I would argue, regardless of who the president was, it would be that way, right? I think that's what we need to get back to. We need to get back to America. I mean, we are the greatest country on earth. And we need to remind each other we have a whole lot more in common than we don't. I get it. It's easy and it's fun to fight about things. But to see all that, all different kinds of people, different vehicles, like it was electrifying.
It is energizing. I mean, come on. Yeah. You see Air Force One fly into San Antonio. I don't care who you are politically in your belief system. You see Air Force One.
Yes.
I don't know. Salo, everybody else. It riles your heart.
Exactly.
Like your adrenaline starts to pick up because contrary, and I know you're with me on this one, contrary to where our country is right now, how certain people and the media portray our country, we are not that country.
No.
We love and support the military. We love and support our law enforcement and first responders. We are 100% people are in love with this country.
Yes.
Can we be better? And there are things we need to do better?
Of course.
Yeah. Of course there are. But on a whole, right, a majority-wise, this is the greatest country in the history of countries and republics in the history of the world.
Yes.
And it pains me that we've lost sight of that over the last several months. Because we have work to do does not mean have not worked in the past.
That's right.
Because we have worked. We've worked for hundreds of years, this country has, and it's the greatest. But when you see Air Force One, it sticks you here. I don't care who flew in Air Force One. Barack Obama flew into San Antonio multiple times as president of the United States, and every time I saw him, maybe I didn't vote for him, whatever. Right. But every time I saw him, I'm still like,
that's the president.
That's the president of the United States.
Exactly.
And it could have been anybody from any party. You sit there and you're taken back by that, and it's sad we've lost some of that piece.
Yeah.
But I think we got to get it back, man, because if we don't, nothing from outside the country is going to destroy us. It's the only thing that's going to destroy us,
of course,
is from inside.
That's right. What was pretty cool was I had an opportunity to speak with the president, and you start like, what am I going to say, right? What am I going to talk about? Because you got all these issues.
You got a few seconds.
Yeah, you have a limited amount of time. But you have time, right? So what did I do is I've always viewed myself as nothing more than a conduit, right? This isn't about Congressman Gonzales once I get elected. This is about the people of District 23. It's about the issues that matter most to them. And what better way than to reach out to these communities and I'm going to speak to the president tomorrow. What should I say? Right? That was part of the healing, part of this guy is going to represent us. Good. Right? And there's all these different, you get all these different topics, but the consensus and what I decided to speak to him about was dignity of work. The people of District 23 want to safely get back to work. At the end of the day, that solves a lot of our problems. And I think that's an important issue. Is like, look, we don't want checks from the government. We don't want to close our small businesses and not reopen them. What we want is to work, work and be prideful. Dignity of work.
Of all the things you chose, that tells people all the time. Because we look at San Antonio, and we think about what's happening in the country, and some of the struggles we're seeing right now. Gross domestic product is lagging horribly.
Yes.
Jobs and unemployment, obviously. Stimulus checks aren't going to cut it and change the country.
Yeah.
A stimulus check is not the answer to solve it. It's a temporary fix. And maybe we're going to come out with some more money next month in August. The Republican controlled Senate has said they would. The Democrats want more stimulus funding. They want to spend the money in different places than Republicans do.
Yeah, night and day.
But there is, those are Band-Aids. At the end of the day, dignity of work. And man, that if you, I'm thinking about it right now. If I had 15 seconds, a minute with the president, what in the world am I going to say?
Yeah.
And number one, the most important point I want to recap what you said. You said, number one, I'm just a conduit.
That's right.
There are two types of politicians in the world. Two types. The one is I was elected, and I'm going to go down there, and I'm elected to make the decisions for you. Like, there's that politician. Like, you hired me, I got the job. I'm going down there, and I'm going to say what I think because you put me down there. Sure.
Yeah.
But now it's my seat.
Yeah.
And I'm going to go down there and do what I think's right because you elected me to make the decisions for you.
Yeah.
That's that politician.
Gina Jones.
The second politician is I'm the messenger.
Yes.
Right?
That's
so
it.
you're in touch with your community enough
Yes.
to know that you are there to deliver the message.
Yes.
Right? You're
That's it.
there to speak it into existence and to fight for what your people want. So you went down there and said dignity of work, and this is why it matters. The job, first of all, people want to work.
Absolutely. Yes.
The dignity of work really means to me, when I just hear that, I think there's pride, man, when someone has a job.
Yes.
And you accomplish and you earn.
Yes.
That's prideful.
Nothing like it.
There's pride,
That's
and
right.
it reaches your family.
Yes.
Like your sons and daughters learn that, right?
Yeah.
When they see you going to work and busting it to make money for the family, there's
Yes.
pride in that. But jobs is the answer to all
right.
of this and always has been.
That's right.
And that's why people are pissed off about the masks and the building
Sure.
and the closures and the job, all this other stuff. People are upset because they cannot get out and earn for their families. They cannot
right.
do the things that dignity requires,
That's
the
right.
dignity of work.
That's right.
So how are you navigating COVID as a candidate and the positions that the federal government's taken and everything? What are some of the things you're hearing out there and wrapping up our conversation?
Yeah,
But I
of
would like
course.
to know where you're pushing towards and what you think some of those things are over the next few months that are going to be important to you.
Of course.
From COVID to Miller Defense, how you're going to handle this Gene Ortiz-Jones issue.
There you go.
Talk a little bit about that and give us a rundown how you see the next few months going for you.
So one is, I retired after 20 years in the military as a cryptologist, a cyber guy, and technology. 21 years ago now, tomorrow will be my 1-year anniversary from retiring. You have to do things differently. You have to adapt because technology is always growing and changing, right? So the COVID environment is no different. One, those that kind of just hunkered down and went into their basement, Joe Biden, and never came out, right? Are those that are going to fail and lose. Those that kind of slug their way through and try to find a way to make it work, those are the ones that will be successful. So, you can debate all day long. Does a mask work? Does it not work? Does quarantine work? Does this, that, or that, the other work? At the end of the day, most people want to just live their lives, right? They don't want anyone to get sick. They don't want themselves to get sick. They want to live their lives. They want to reopen schools safely. I got a questionnaire. We have 6 children, right? And I have a 5-year-old who is amazing and great to be at home. But he's itching to get back to school. And we get this questionnaire that goes, do you want to remote? Do you want to homeschool? Do you want to reopen the school? And it's like, reopen schools safely, and I think there's a way to do it. I'll bring up a company, Xenex, that does UV lighting, and they're basically a robot that comes in and sanitizes a room. Well, guess what? They're manufactured right here in San Antonio, and they're manufactured in District 23, right? So I visited this facility. There are ways to be innovative and make things work. What was funny is when this all occurred, guess who was reaching out to this company asking for their robots? No other than China. China's going, how do we get these robots over here? And they had a difficult problem set because they knew if they delivered them, they were just going to get reverse engineered and all that. Their technology's gone.
It's gone. Yeah,
it's gone. But I say that to go, the American people are innovative. We can find a way to be safe and get back to work. At the end of the day, Gina Jones represents just something very completely different. She's not my grandfather's type of Democrat. She is for, Green New Deal, right? Ban fracking, destroy the energy industry, stay at home, we're gonna give you money, just everything against the family. At the end of the day, I ask myself, what am I gonna do when I get up there? And it's to help and support the family unit. You strengthen the family unit, you strengthen America. And I think that's the biggest difference. At the end of the day, I don't care if you're a Republican, I don't care if you're a Democrat, independent. Look at that. Tony is pro-family. Tony's going to help your family. Gina Jones is going to be more of the Medicare for all. The government is going to take care of it.
If she's on the record of defunding police or rerouting funding, they can call it anything they want, reallocating funds or money, or putting the money where it matters, or creating community ambassadors. All that is defunding. Any code word that a Democrat or progressive or a liberal is using around defund police, don't buy it. Anytime you pull a cop off the street and you put that money somewhere else because you think, I'd rather have let's say, I was reading the other day, let's say, there's an assault and a neighbor, you want a community ambassador to show up, or someone's going to de-escalate the situation when you arrive on scene because someone's had a tough life.
Please do not stab me.
Someone's had a tough life here. So let's send a counselor out to make sure that person, a counselor answers the call. Get the hell out of here with that. No, look, police can get better at their job. Of
course.
100%.
Training.
Defunding them is 1,000% not the answer.
That's right.
Because by defunding them in a lot of communities, an already underfunded police departments, by pulling those resources and putting them into things like community ambassadors, counselors, there's different types of workforce education things they want to put the money into. That pool of cash needs to be secured. And if Gina Jones is about taking any of that money, that's the number one thing people need to be afraid of. Because if you remove the safety aspect of our lives, it's eye-opening.
Yes.
And you see it immediately. And you don't even believe me? Watch some of these Democratic-led cities. Portland, Seattle, Minneapolis, Chicago.
Yes.
These cities are in utter chaos.
Yes.
I mean, they're in utter chaos. Crime is skyrocketing in New York City.
Yeah.
This is in a short 90, 120-day window.
What was the first thing that they did when they secured that area? They put the barricades up.
They built the wall.
Isn't that funny?
Chop and Chaz. They built a wall. Right. We don't want. We don't want. They created a police force. Come on, people. So, hey, look, man, you've come a long way, man. We're super proud of you.
Yeah.
And Gina Jones is going to be a tough opponent. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah, it's going to be fun.
She's got the cash and resources. You're going to need cash and resources. You're rebuilding it. We hope people recognize that. From what I saw when we first met, man, what was that? 6 months ago? 8 months ago? Man. Yeah, last year, right?
Yeah. It's been a while, man.
You've obviously moved in. You are a far better candidate because you've grown into it. You've grown into it. Not that you're a bad candidate to begin with by any means, but as you go through these things, you mature and you grow throughout a campaign. And at the end of it, you're battle hardened. I mean, because you have to go through the fire.
That's it.
To ultimately be the one that makes the call, right? To get the decision, hold the seat. It's one thing to win the seat. It's another thing to govern and lead. So govern and lead is going to be the challenge for you, and that will come in the future.
Yes.
God willing. But the battle test that you had to go through to get there, 7 votes, 46 votes, the tough, difficult campaign, you stuck to it, man. You didn't give up. I watched you on election night. I was following you. I'm like, man, this guy must be going crazy. This is insane.
It is crazy.
And it brought me back to,
it humbles
as well.
you.
It 100%.
I mean, it just goes, at the end of the day, at the end of the day, you got to give praise to God, and you got to go, God has put me on this path. And for all that, like, I'm a cryptologist, I'm an analyst, I want to control this, that, or the other. At the end of the day, you got to go, I want you to control one thing, not change. Not be that politician you kind of outlined at the beginning. Me, there's a saying in Spanish, yo mando. I'm the boss. No, it ain't about that, man. You are a servant. And the minute you forget you're a servant, it is time for you to be replaced by a servant.
Yep. So. And it's humbling is the word when you come that close, because it could have just as easily gone the other way.
Sure.
Let's be honest. Yeah. It could have gone the other way. God saw it through. You came out on the positive end of it. And you've obviously learned that lesson, which is huge, because the people that didn't vote for you, you need to come back out and vote for him. It's not enough to say, I'm going to stay home. That's ridiculous. Anybody who thinks, well, I can't vote for Tony, so I'm going to go for Gina as a Democrat, that makes no sense if you're a Republican. If you're an independent, choose who you want to choose. Yeah. But if you're a Republican, this is why Republicans are on the downswing in a lot of areas across Texas right now. And that's why there's this threat, although I don't think Texas is a purple state yet, or it's not, and it's years away from being a blue state. It's too damn close because people are not running to what the issues that matter most to citizens. And you cannot, everyday folks, and the people who keep losing, haven't figured that out yet. When they figure it out, that you do need to make sure you're working with Democrats. I know you hate that, people, I get that, but there are some things you're going to be aligned on. You're going to need multiple votes to get there. You're going to need camaraderie and working together in partnership. You've worked on the Hill and passed bills. You understand that oftentimes there's 1 or 2 votes you may need that may come from a Democrat. And that camaraderie that comes from understanding that I got to do what's best for the district. Yeah. That's where you're going to be successful, and it showed through in the election.
Thank you.
And anybody, we're proud of you, brother.
Appreciate it.
Proud of you. Dang, gave me 7 votes, man. I love it. I love politics. All right, man, we appreciate you. All right, let me get to a few things here. All right, let's see what we got. You're more than welcome to sit here as I embarrass you with some information. What do we got? Hey, put up those coronavirus slides. You got that Corona one? So, hey, keep an eye on what's happening. City Saint, man, dude, that skin has got some problems right there. We got to do a little. Yeah, I got to do some. I probably should have shaved, but I was feeling it today. I was feeling it. So the city of San Antonio, sanantonio.gov, has a couple of new screen grabs out there. I pulled this one that's starting to identify risk levels. So they're looking at different metrics to determine how to open and close and where we're at from a perspective of COVID in this community. A couple weeks back, actually about a week ago, I put out some graphics that showed within the same day, COVID surging, COVID dropping, fewer patients in the hospital, fewer ventilators being used. COVID's out of control. I mean, the media is complicit in a lot of this and bad messaging and information from the city of San Antonio, but they have added something else right here. We're going to dig into this one a little further. It says the risk level right now is severe and critical based on multiple different items here like hospital stress, positivity rate, doubling rate, trends, contact tracing, and different testing capacity issues. 946 new cases, 39,000 total, 1,000 folks hospitalized, 269 on a ventilator, 342 deaths. God rest their souls. And we pray for those folks, obviously. 389 in ICU patients. So new screen out there, sanantonio.gov. You want to know what things are really, what we hope is true and accurate information. Get out there and take a look at it. Next screen, COVID-2. There's some trend line ones I wanted to show you as well. We got it? Aha! Here's the COVID-19 trends. So daily cases reported by date. You see it right there, and daily cases by event. You'll notice we did go through a surge moment, and God willing, we appear to be down over the last 5 to 7 days, right? So you notice the trend line did take a massive spike. Now, the mayor has previously said, because you fools went out and partied on the 4th of July, okay, never mind the protesting and all the other garbage that was going on with the rioting. No, it was all 4th of July partiers and people don't want to wear masks. So whoever's to blame at this point, you know what, it appears as though there's at least a declining trend, and that's a good thing. Again, those numbers right there on the right-hand side, hospital EMS trends, sanantonio.gov, you can come out and see these, and it keeps you, look, all this matters, and to me, I like to look at it from a trend line perspective, like where are we in comparison to where the rest of everything else has been. And by the way, don't forget, 39,000 positive cases, 2.5 million people in Bexar County. Just putting that out there for some context. 39,000 positives, 2.5 million people in Bexar County. So keep it grounded in what we're really seeing. What's up next? We got one more? And then there are some more trends right there. The heat map on the right-hand side will tell you where some of these things are busting out at. It is good information to kind of see some of the exposure by community in the city of San Antonio. We're up in a big fight. Obviously, people are upset about masks, are upset about business closings and stuff like that. And what I would tell, elected officials is to have some more empathy for people who don't want to wear a mask. I mean, look, I put the thing on. Right here I am right here. I mean, if necessary, I'll go there, right? I wear the mask because, I want to be careful for other people. I mean, other people get afraid. They're afraid, right? Seniors. Huh? Dr. Fauci doesn't. Dr. Fauci doesn't wear his, but I wear mine. But, I wear it for different reasons, and I want to make sure that other citizens are okay. I'm okay with it. To me, it's not a burden. Fine. But we do have to respect that people believe differently, right, than the mayor and the city council, and it's okay to think differently. It's not okay. Obviously, nobody wants to go out there. People don't take their masks off and not wear masks because they think, man, I gotta give people COVID, man. I'm gonna teach these people. Nobody thinks that, right? They just gotta work. They got their personal livelihoods. They got their lives. They got their belief system in what government should and shouldn't do. And that's what they're exercising. And I'll give you an example. Today, Herman Cain passed away. So Herman Cain, as we know, was the former presidential candidate and former CEO of Godfather Pizza, man. Love Godfather Pizza. Anyways, he passed away today from COVID-19. Incredibly sad. Democrats are out there bashing him for it. That's how ridiculous this has gotten. They're making fun of him because he wouldn't wear a mask, right? He wouldn't wear the mask. And then he dies of coronavirus, and Democrats are making fun of him. It's just utterly ridiculous. That's what we've come to in this debate. Pay attention to what's happening. Nobody wants to see anybody die from this. Nobody wants people to lose their jobs or businesses. And I don't believe the Ron Nurembergs of the world, and hell, even the Gina Joneses, all these people that I think are out in Never Never Land, they don't want people to die just as much as I wouldn't, or Tony, or anybody else, Clayton Perry, anybody, whoever. Nobody wants that. But what we want to make sure is that the community is protected and taken care of, and people can still make decisions for themselves. Jobs matter, livelihoods matter. No money in the house. I'm sorry, the government's they're not gonna feed us and clothe us for the rest of our days until we get a vaccine. Nor do we want them to. And then the kids got to get back to school too, safely and secure, obviously. And we can do it. Tony hit the nail on the head. Innovative. That's what this country is. Find ways to make it happen. Because all I hear out of City Hall and the media is that this place is doomed, right? Nothing positive ever comes out of any of these places. They find miracle ways to pick at the worst of our citizens. They do it all day long. The whole conversation is what you can't do and how everybody else sucks. Right? That to me is not leadership. We've hit that many times. So let's get after it, but let's do the best we can. Look, masks matter. Follow your heart in a lot of this and protect your family. That's what I would do. Then that's what everybody does. What else we got next in there? Is there any, just some, there's right here, Pfizer. Just want to keep you updated on that because I know some of y'all follow it too. Look, there's a lot of talk about a vaccine by the end of the year. There's another company named Moderna, and they're in human trials right now on a vaccine that has done very well in rhesus monkeys.
Wow.
Yeah, apparently. And so it is actually is limiting the virus even in the nasal passages and things like that. So they're seeing success with a lot of vaccine. Look, I tend to believe that this really isn't going away until there's a vaccine. At the end of the day, this is here. Whether it becomes a cyclical nature like a flu or something like that, who knows? And even the greatest scientists don't know. They're still learning about COVID-19. But there are companies racing to get a cure. And I don't know if a cure is going to happen, but we know a vaccine is closer than a lot of us probably recognize. But here's another story. Pfizer, keep an eye out for it. 100 million doses. Man, you want to win that lottery. You want to get, would you take a COVID vaccine? I'm anxious to see what the anti-vaxxers are going to do when it comes time to COVID vaccine. I mean, so there's lots of things to be interested in. We may want to talk about that in the future. What's up next? Anything else? What we got here? Cornerstone Church, just wanted to sue this one. This is how difficult it has gotten. So lawsuit accuses San Antonio mayor of denying Christian schools freedom of religion. Keep an eye out on this because it's going to be interesting to see how far citizens and businesses can push on the mayor and the county judges' limitations on business openings and mask wearing. Pastor John Hagee is obviously pushing this because he feels in his heart that's a limit to his freedom of religion. And he wants to get kids back in school. He wants to educate them. And there's a lot of science and studies that talk about what our children are missing as a result of not being in school. Never mind just the social aspect of it, but the educational aspect and the long-term damage from all of that ceasing to exist. Now, the children back in school, and I've learned a lot over the last couple of months just in reading about what school does for our kids beyond just, I got to show up every day and get my diploma and move on. The social network and the physical skills, the mental, all of it that's built, the knowledge, children not in school is a bad thing. Yes, there's also this job component to it, how children go to school so parents are working, the employment aspect of it, but our children missing school is huge. And we've got to find a way back as quickly as possible. So keep an eye on what Pastor Hagee and Cornerstone Church is up to. What's next? I just had to show this one here just in case. You might have these celebrities on your hit list. They signed a letter to defund the police. So I just thought, this is random, but I wanted to show up mainly because Princess Amidala right there Natalie Portman is for defunding the police. I was really upset about that. I was pissed. I could care less about the Lizzo and John Lennon. Come on, man. Hanoi Jane, we know Jane Fonda. She's never liked America. But the Joker and Princess Amidala, Natalie Portman. Look at her look on her face, too. Look at Natalie Portman's look. She looks like she's ready to defund some police. Absolutely. I just wanted to show that one. Keep in mind, find out, this defund police thing is coming. Because here in San Antonio, they want to collect petition signatures. We're going to learn more about that over time. Anybody tells you that removing police officer contracts and civil service is not defunding police is lying to you. Anytime you remove $1 from the police department, 80% of that goes to salaries and wages, man. If you take $1 out of the police department, it's one less cop on the street. And you know what the number one thing people say that they want to feel safe? What makes them feel safe? Police officers in the neighborhood. Signs of police officers. I love that one. So I'm sure there's a ton more celebrities that sign that daggum thing. All right, we're gonna do some memes. Oh, hold on. I want to show this video. Can we show the video? Can you do that? All right, play the video. This is a little bit of fun before we wrap up because I haven't done memes and videos in a while because I was trying to be a little uber sensitive to the times and get some solid dialogue going. But I got a video I want to show you that my wife drummed up. Can you play it? Halloween's right around the corner. Halloween's right around the corner. It's going to be here before you know it.
Mr. and Mrs. Brockhouse.
And that's my wife and I. No, that's actually, I wish it was. That's incredibly cool and creative. Okay.
Can you wear those masks? Because they're asking for masks.
Hey, that mask is...
Can you be in the city wearing those masks?
That would qualify to me as a Ron Nuremberg approved mask. Michael Myers.
Yeah. Going to HEB with that mask.
That's more like an alien. That's not Michael Myers. That's Alien. But yeah, you know what? I think you should walk into. Okay, if Salo would go into QT wearing a Michael Myers mask, I'll buy him dinner at Bohannon's.
I would.
Let's go. We'll go in with Michael Myers mask, and then we'll start dancing together in a Michael Myers.
And then when the police show up.
And then when the police show up,
That'd be awesome.
he made me do it. All right, we got some more memes here. Let's see what memes popped up. Okay, here's Mayor Lori Lightfoot. Under no circumstances will allow Donald Trump's troops to come to Chicago and terrorize our residents. Mayor Lightfoot, you have the highest murder rate in the nation. Number 2, they're not Donald Trump's troops. Just want to throw that out there. They're not, all right? The president is the commander-in-chief, but he does not own the troops. The commander-in-chief, when you are the commander-in-chief, there's a lot that comes with exercising your rights, and yes, that are afforded to you by our Constitution. But they're not Donald Trump's troops. And he has an advisory staff of the best military generals and military minds in the world advising him on that. So this is the kind of scare tactics that we're afraid of. By the way, Mayor Lori Lightfoot, who likes to get her hair cut when she tells everybody else in Chicago they can't. Classic. Mayor Lori Lightfoot, Chicago. Give me a break. All right, next. Is it working? Aha! So now that we all agree masks work, I guess we don't need mail-in voting because, masks work. Your move. Hey, that's a good point. So I read this one and I thought about this with the president. I'm like, he's got a point there. If masks are that good, wear the masks to go vote. Why do we have to have 100% mail-in voting? And I will continue to say this. Mail ballot voting is wrought with voter fraud. It is full of voter fraud. I know people in this city whose sole job is to fraudulently get people to do mail-in ballot votes. They love in San Antonio to manipulate the mail-in ballot process. Every one of us in politics knows who these people actually are, and their whole life is to get the mail-in ballot in front of the senior and have the senior sign it, and they manipulate and target, if not outright fraudulently sign it for them. There are people in this town who are paid to just do mail ballot fraud. It's true. And don't listen to CNN or any of these other garbage news stations saying, well, there's no proof of mail. There's proof. People are doing it in San Antonio, and we know all who they are.
Yep.
So be very careful. But the president's got it right there. I like that meme right there. Hold on a second. Your move. Vice President Biden, what happened here? Oh, no, we started with 19 watching. I meant to show this one last week, but we didn't get to it. People are bashing the president about his turnout. You know, the CNN and Politico. The president only had 10,000 people out at a rally. He said he was going to have 50. Yeah, Joe Biden had 19 people watching. 19. Because he's, like Tony said, he's downstairs hiding in the basement. But he's ahead in the polls by 11. And that's why white men are evil. I think I'm in the wrong class. Which classroom is calculus? This is calculus. That's academia right now. That's our American colleges right there. You're evil. Next. What Antifa is and what Antifa think they are. Look at the guy. Look at the one on the far right. Look at the one on the far right, people. Come on.
Is that a boogie board?
That's a boogie board. That's a boogie board. That is absolutely ridiculous.
Where's the blue line?
And 100% true. Yeah. Hey, you got a Blue Lives Matter boogie board right there. That is absolutely true. That's what they think they are. What's next? How to identify a peaceful protester? Peaceful slogans. A T-shirt with the favorite peaceful dictator. It's got Che Guevara on there, bro.
Love that tattoo.
Hands peacefully crowded in other people's blood.
Wow.
Covered. Massive pile of peace-spreading bricks. Has liberated many HDTVs for peace. I love that one. Graciously serves beverages to police. It's bottles Molotov cocktails. Dear Biden, if Donald Trump is the first racist president, doesn't that mean we can stop tearing down statues of past presidents, since according to you, they were not racist?
Wow.
That's true.
That's pretty cool.
That's true. So, I love this one. Mainly because that Joker character is something else. So Facebook promotes videos of Bill Gates, who is not a doctor, pushing a vaccine, but bans videos of actual doctors talking about a cure. Are you awake yet? The same people who sell the panic sell the pill. And by the way, this frontline doctors of America that have come out and talked about their belief in hydroxychloroquine and zinc and azithromycin and all these other cures and things like that they're seeing with their patients. I love how the lamestream media jumped all over them and is destroying them every chance they get, and Facebook and social media banning anything that says hydrochloroquine works or don't wear your mask. Facebook is removing that from the social media, admitted that they're doing it. But at the end of the day, can you imagine if Republicans were trashing a woman of color as a hack, right? I mean, that's what they're doing, right? We saw this Dr. Emanuel. And now there's all this stuff all over the internet that she believes all this crazy stuff and all these other things. They're destroying her. Joe Biden called her a quack. Can you imagine if Republicans across the country were doing that to death? Come on, man. Yeah. Be an uprising in the city. Well, hello, there are already uprisings in the city. What's next? I've had it up to here with Nadler. I don't know what this is. Nice. I don't know what that is, but that's for Louis Garcia and Abe. Abe Juarez, he put that one out there. I was like, yeah, that's interesting. That's it. Next. Oh, we're done. We had to end it with a Jerry Nadler joke because Jerry Nadler's a demon, man. He's destroying. And what I saw of his behavior with Attorney General Barr the other day, utterly ridiculous. Utterly ridiculous. I'm not saying Attorney General Barr has all the right answers or is even answering questions, but that day he couldn't even answer questions. And they were calling him a sexist and all this other garbage because he was trying to talk over people. Guy couldn't get a word in edgewise. Watch what's happening in your country, people. And at the very least, dig in and try to understand what in the world is happening day to day. And if you're sick of federal government and all those other things, if you're sick of what's happening in Austin, then man, just focus on your own neighborhood street and your own city block and try to figure out where your tax dollars and votes are going and who's making them that represents you. And are they representing you or are they doing it for themselves? The politician that does that is clearly identifiable, and you got to get after him and kind of figure out what that looks like and how you're going to vote. Nobody wins with 100% of the vote. Wherever there are two or more gathered, people are disagreeing. I guarantee you, right? There's a disagreement. Right. Not everybody is going to be with you 100% of the time. Tony Gonzales, man, you're going for it.
Yeah.
We wish you the best luck. We will be praying for you.
Thank you.
To have at the very least, good race, a good run, and your family is protected.
Thank you.
So words of prayer for Tony. We ask the Heavenly Father to keep His eyes on you as
you.
you go through it and protect you and your family.
Yes.
That's all. If I was to pray for anything for you
Yeah.
at the end of the day, I'd pray for that.
Appreciate it.
That you're just safe, man.
Yeah,
and that
appreciate
what
it.
comes your way in the next few months, that you weather it with the pride
right.
of your family you've
right.
raised and the ideas you have. So we're
right.
thank for you. We wish you the best of luck.
Thank you. Thank you
We'd
for
like
having me on the
to-
show.
We're
Yeah.
gonna do more, dude. We're not done yet. We're gonna keep going. But thank you. Always follow us, man. This is the thing we got to do. People don't like to hear some of these truths that we're talking about, and it's going to happen this fall. We got votes coming up that are huge on the city ballot election. Just a good example, I'll tell you one. They're going to vote to fund pre-K for SA at $45 million a year for another 8 years. The mayor wants to sink hundreds of millions into VIA on your vote in November. He wants to put nearly $100 million into his workforce development program for his best friend at the Alamo Colleges District. That's $1 billion of spending ramping up over the next 3 to 5 years on pet projects for Ron Nuremberg. By the way, he's going to take that money from things like the Edwards Aquifer, the Linear Creek trails. He wants to pull that money away from things that citizens are actually using every day that affect hundreds of thousands of citizens. He wants to pull that away to fund his pet projects. Things like he was quoted the other day saying, the mayor was, hey, we got to be thinking about a Green New Deal economy and jobs as a result of COVID-19. Never let a good crisis go to waste to pursue your progressive liberal agenda. Now, we can get together, we can vote these things, and it will happen. And it's coming to you in November. And we're going to continue to shine a light on those things just to make sure at the end of the day you know what you're voting for. And then go vote, man. And part ways friends, or at the very least, we understand that there is a scoreboard in politics. His was 7, but he still won, baby.
Here we go.
1 is all you need. 50 plus 1. You keep moving and just vote with a little bit of knowledge. But whatever you do, don't skip a line on the ballot because somebody isn't 100% with you, right? Nobody ever will be. You're going to disagree with yourself from time to time. So get out there, make it happen and vote. Get educated, reach out to us, tell us what you want to hear or do. Next couple of weeks, we're going to get out and start talking more back into Fix SAPD, defund police, and dig deeper into what's happening at City Council. They are back next month in August. We're going to have a lot of fun picking on their issues and talking about the future of San Antonio. It's coming. This is a time for you to engage and make it happen. We thank you. Like it, share it, tag it. As always, the broadcast is out.